Hey y'all, it's your girl Shalette and welcome to my YouTube channel where we love nails. As you know, I haven't been on here in a while, but you have to drop some comments below and tell me what y'all want to see as far as content. But we're going to jump right into this video of prepping nails and doing a refill on this set, as well as some marble nail art. So in the beginning, I always start with my coarse nail bit, and I just remove all of the top coat of gel from the nail and any lifted nail or acrylic that may be on the nail. But as you'll see, I won't have any acrylic lifted off of the nail to remove, so this is going to be a smooth refill. You'll see me go in with my, of course, bit on the sides of the nail, and that's just me shaping the nail back into the pointed shape that we started with, and that cuts down on filing time with the hand file once you need to go in and shape everything back up. But this, of course, bit removes anything from old gel polish, lifted acrylic, and it also shapes the nail back into place. I also use this when my clients want me to trim their acrylic down, or trim down and reshape their acrylic to a different shape. So this bit does a lot of different things. It doesn't just remove polish or top coats of gel or lifted acrylic. It does multiple things. You can do a lot with this nail bit. Also keep in mind that this, of course, nail bit is to only be used on acrylics and not your natural nail. So make sure that you're not touching the natural nail with this bit. So now that I'm done, I'm gonna go in with my Perfect Prepping sanding bands, just to prep the natural nail. And you'll see that I won't go over the natural nail too many times with it, because it's a 150 grit that I like to use, because it lifts the cuticle and pushes back the cuticle as well. So you may never see me use a cuticle pusher when I'm prepping, and that's just because I became so familiar with my e-file that I know how to use it. So you'll see me push back the cuticle with the Perfect Prepping sanding band, as well as cleaning up my sides, which cuts down on hand shaping with a nail file as well. This Perfect Prepping sanding band is my favorite, because it gets up everything before I have to go on with my next prepping step. Like, it just lifts off any epinicium or cuticle or whatever you want to call it off of the nail plate for a clean surface before you apply your acrylic. So yeah, I'm either going to be using a 240 when I'm prepping the natural nail, or I'm going to use a 150. You just have to be the judge when you're using your nail products to know exactly which sanding bit that you need. And I also like to etch the whole nail when I'm prepping for a refill, because it just levels everything back out if you missed any top coat of gel that's on the surface of the acrylic nail, it just levels everything back out. So I'll just etch the full nail when I'm prepping for a refill. And all of the products that I'm going to be using are available at doubledigitnails.com, including my e-file, the double digit nail e-file. I love this e-file because it's super quiet. It fits perfectly in your hand. It doesn't vibrate in your hand. It's not bulky. And the thing that I do love about this e-file is that you have presets. So you have low, which starts on 10 and it goes from 10 to 1. I'm always on 1 or 2 when I'm prepping my natural nails surfaces. And the medium I use, it goes from 20 all the way down to 2 to 1. And I'm usually on 20 when I'm contouring and smoothing out the natural nail, and I'm usually on 30, which is on high, when I'm trimming the nail, cutting the nails down, reshaping the nails, debulking the nails, stuff like that, because it's a higher power. But for the most part, the thing that I do like about it, it has a play and a pause button. So if I'm on 2 and I need to switch out a bit, I can pause it, switch out my nail bit, and then press play, and it's still on the speed that I was using initially. And it has a dial, so you can dial it up or you can dial it down for the speed that you need, if you need to be on high, low, or medium. And I always say this to my customers, that our products are so legit, like you're going to want to get your hands on them. I don't sell anything that I don't believe in and anything that I'm not using. So everything that I'm using, it's always going to be something that I've tested. It's true, it's tried and tested. So you don't have to worry about wasting your money on something that doesn't work, because our products just work. For our next prepping step, I'm going to be using our Get It bit. And the reason why I call this the Get It bit is because it gets the last little bit that's left over from me prepping. And it kind of finalizes the e-file stage of prepping. And it gets all into those grooves of the cuticle. It gets under the cuticle. It gets in those side walls. And that's the thing that I love about this bit. It's my favorite bit to use when I'm prepping around the natural nail for acrylic. And you want to make sure that you're using a good bit to prep around the side walls and in the creases of the cuticle, because you want to prevent any lifting. And the best way to do that is have a great prepping routine. And this is what works for me. It may not work for everybody, but I know what works. And using these nail bits has helped my nails last for weeks to months at a time, you know, because sometimes my clients can't get right back in because I'm so busy and booked. But these bits have paved the way for me. So get our digit bit and you will not be disappointed. So we're done with the e-file part of prepping. We're just gonna dust the nail off and make sure that you have as much dusted from the nail as possible, because any dust particles left on the nail is gonna create a passageway for lifting to occur, and we don't want any lifting to occur. So we want to make sure that our prepping we got it, you know, down packed, and for the most part, I do. So for our next step, we're going to take a clean nail brush with alcohol. I always use 100% alcohol and a clean nail brush just to make sure, after I already dusted, to make sure any dust particles, and it also dehydrates the nail, so just make sure any dust particles are brushed away from the nail, and the alcohol actually works as a dehydrator as well. But I also still go back in with our dehydrator. That's so hard for me to say, but you know, you get it. So I always go back in it. And our dehydrator is not just any dehydrator. Our dehydrator is a prepping bond. So it preps you for primer. So it's still part of the prepping step, but it's just prepping you for your primer application. And now we're going to go in with our perfect primer after we've used the dehydrated dehydrator. And our dehydrated dehydrator, I just want to say this, it does have a secret ingredient that helps to balance the pH in a natural nail. And what that means is that our dehydrated dehydrator, if the alcohol didn't make sure that all the oil was removed from the nail, this dehydrator does that. It makes sure that the nail is free of any excess oil, and that's the step that we use prior to our perfect primer. So it's the perfect step to ensure that your acrylics will last. So I went in with our perfect primer on all 10 nails, and I think this should be my second coat that I'm going in. The first coat, you want to let dry to a chalky look. It's gonna look like chalky and white, and then I always go in again and let it dry again as well. So that's how I do my prepping. Like I said again, this might not work for everybody, but this will work for me. So I'll just go in with 2 coats of primer before my application of acrylic. And for my brush, I'm using our beautiful brush in the size 14. And this is our double digit dampen dish, which is available online as well. It's on our website. And I'm using our acrylic cotton candy with our acrylics. The best way to know when it's time to lay your bead down is to let it polymerize on the brush. And what polymerize means is that the liquid and the powder it's solidifying together, and it's gonna turn super shiny. That's when you know it's time to put it on your brush. You see how I wait and I'm looking at you, seeing it? Did you guys see it? I'm gonna do a slow-mo and show you how it just changes to this soft silky sheen. Well, I couldn't do a slow-mo, so once I figure out how to do it, I will definitely show you, and maybe when I'm doing the next hand, I'll show you a slow-mo of the product actually polymerizing on the brush. But if you pay attention to your brush, once you dip it in the liquid and then into the acrylic powder, you look at your brush and you're going to see it just changing. It's going to go from powdery to like this sheen. I can't even describe it. I guess that's the best way that I can describe it. It just changes right in front of your eye, and that's when you know it's time to lay your bead. So here's the slow-mo that I was talking about doing. Watch this bead just change from this dry look to a soft sheen look. And I'll hold you. See, did you see the sheen? And that's when you know to place your bead. It's the perfect time to place your bead, because if you place it anytime before then, you're going to get acrylic that starts to run and it goes all over the place and you won't be able to control it, or you will have to control it too much, which means you're spending too much time on doing an acrylic set. The best thing to do is just watch your bead polymerize and then place your bead. Never place a dry bead, because a dry bead is going to run. And don't forget to clean your brush for your next client. I always make sure that I clean my brush and have everything prepped and ready for my next client. And here I'm just going to shape up using an 80 grit file. It's my favorite file to use when shaping acrylics, because it's just coarse enough and it's not super fine. With a fine file, you're going to be filing all day. And remember, your grit goes from high to low. The highest grit is the softest grit. The lowest grit is the coarsest grit. And I like this nail bit because it helps to make sure that you achieve the perfectly polished nails by cleaning and contouring the apex perfectly. And the funnel shape is what make you clean around that curve, that apex really good. This bit cleans the cuticle and smooths the nail surface, reducing the need for buffing, which is my other favorite part. You don't have to buff as much because this one is smoothing everything out for you. When you file a nail with a coarse bit, then you're going to have to buff. And with this bit, you don't have to do a lot of filing because it's a fine bit, which means it smooths everything out for you. The only thing I would say is to make sure that when you do buff afterwards, that you're buffing into the cuticle. And you won't be buffing that long because, like I said, this is a fine bit. So this is our clean and contour bit. And what this bit does is it cleans around the cuticle. If you are a pro and you're not afraid that you're going to nip your client, you can use it to clean around the cuticle, but it's a fine bit as well. So I always use it to contour the nails, smooth everything out. And in the end, it cuts down on you having to buff so much. So that's why I like this bit, because I can clean around the cuticle, I can clean under the nail, I can clean the sides of the nail, and I also can get that crispy shape on the tip of the nail as well. So this is one of my favorite bits to use towards the end of, shaping the nail up and make sure everything is clean. And for those who want to know, I am using my Deposition Nails e-file on a 30 speed. You can see it blinking in the background on the e-file. I'm at 30, and that's just because that's what I'm comfortable at. Some people are comfortable at a 10, but if you are trying to smooth out a nail and slightly debulk the nail and just make sure you don't have any lumps and bumps, you don't want to go too slow because your e-file will start catching and it'll start digging into your nail, or making unnecessary dents in your nail. So try to get used to using your e-file on acrylic at a higher speed. Get comfortable with it. Learn your e-file, learn your nail bits, get a rhythm, figure out what your rhythm is, and operate like that. Also, remember to hold your client's hand or finger the nail in different kind of positions. That way you can see it from the side, from the bottom, so you can get all side views of the nail, so you'll know if you have a lump somewhere or a lump somewhere, and that way you can go with your e-file. And so now I'm going to switch out my bit to the Seal the Deal cuticle bit, and I'm going to be operating on 10. That's the speed that my e-file is at. And what this bit does is it seals the cuticle. And you want to make sure that it's a safety bit. So you could probably use this one to smooth everything out, but I really like this one because it gets into those side walls and the cuticle area, and it just makes sure that everything is all flush to the natural nail. That's what sealing the cuticle is, when your acrylic meets your natural nail and there's no dents, it's just flush. Everything is like the same, they're on the same surface basically. It's just all flush together. I know I said flush multiple times, but I just wanted to make sure you know what I mean by flush. What I mean is blended together. So the acrylic meeting the natural nail, they just blend together where you can't tell that they're not meeting. And so now we're going to go into buffing the nails, and don't forget to buff into the cuticle. Like literally find you a buffer that's smooth enough and won't cut the cuticle, and buff into the cuticle area real good, and that also helps to seal the cuticle as well. And as you can see, I'll be buffing, I won't even be buffing this that long. I probably buffed for like a minute and a half or something like that, but that's because I use the clean and contour bit, which smooths everything out, so it cuts down on buffing. So once you get to this part, you want to make sure that you're brushing any dust from the cuticle area, because it'll drag down into your polish when you go to top coat it. And you also want to make sure that the acrylic is free of any oils, because that'll make your polish have those little, not dents, but it'll kind of like not it won't lay smoothly over the acrylic if there's oil on the acrylic. And here I'm going to be applying our Bloom Baby Bloom Blooming Gel. It's actually one of our new products, and it is the perfect wait time, because you know some blooming gels, they bloom too fast, some of them bloom too slow. This one is perfect. I only do like 2 nails at a time. So I'm gonna be dipping my fancy fine liner into various colors and just swirling it around. This is marble, you guys. You cannot mess up marble. It's absolutely no way to mess up marble. You just pick up some colors and you just start swirling. Don't be afraid to let your client know that you're going to be alternating hands inside of the LED light, so that they'll know once you finish a few fingers to put their hand back in, because some of them forget. So make sure your client's hand is in there, because it'll bloom too much and you'll have to start all over. over the marble, which means don't top coat your marble yet. You still want some kind of sticky inhibition layer so that the foil will stick to it, and then you will top coat the foil. And once you finish all 10 nails with the foil, you want to apply your top coat. We're using our glossy top coat. You can also use our, which one is that I like to use? Our Diamond Digit No Wipe top coat. It's my favorite because it's a little thicker, and it just seals everything, and it almost encapsulates the foil. And you guys, don't forget to hydrate your client at the end of the appointment, because remember, we took all the oils from the nail just to make sure that your acrylic doesn't lift and everything stays in place. So remember to hydrate your client at the end. We're using our 10 Digits cuticle oil. It's super popular on our site. It's one of our best sellers. So as we bring this video to a close, don't forget to comment below and let us know what other content you want to see, because this is not the last that you'll see of me. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. Thank you.